Yes, I know.
So the gates open, and you went up a pretty long driveway.
You want Wayne Manor.
Yeah, I do. I totally want Wayne Manor. And an Alfred. So there's that. But I don't want to be Batman because I will totally hire someone to be Batman. But I don't even want to be the Alfred because Alfred has a lot of responsibility, and Alfred has to do stitches, and I can't.
Fucking do stitches. Get sick.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Pass out. Dude comes fall on Batman. Oh.
Yeah, he's like, it was bad when Clayface punched me, but this is hell. I would like to be. I don't know who I would be in Batman's world because in the Batman comics, there's nobody that sits around with Batman and goes like, "Isn't the Joker a faggot?"
What a jackass.
Because think about it, all you ever hear on this fucking show is me cursing, you being like, "Well, that's not true," and fucking dogs and cars and this humming. It's so.
Is that my catchphrase?
Yeah. Well,
Well, that's not true. That's what we go on the road.
Character.
It's we do the city to city tour.
You hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Front entry door.
Well, maybe but that might add I wonder if listeners like the that sense of that
you are there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
There's not Ellen. Yeah, but
they're not in Lisa Gibbons. We're no Lisa Gibbons. We're like doing it real. We're keeping it real.
But if we did record in a Lisa Gibbons type room,
we could add
those elements. So I can get some wild track of Shecky, and then whenever I wanted to add it in, and then it would require I would press a little
more
button.
Work for Ken. Or no, you'd want Scott.
I would do it like old timey radio, where I'd be like, "Hey, Shecky, get out of here," and I press a button. There you go, totally, and create theater of the
mind. Get that horse out of here.
Why is that guy sucking off that rhino? And then, yeah, there you go. You had the sound.
We don't need electric sounds. I'm like that guy from Police Academy.
You're like Michael Winslow. You know, I when I did that Green Arrow book, I created this character called Onomatopoeia. Serial killer goes around and onomatopoeia is the
sound, the word,
writing a word
sounds.
that it represents sound. So when you write blam, that's onomatopoeia. When you write cling clang, screech, scree. Walter at one point, because now Walter's drawn this comic book that comes out. I think it's November 12th or something like that, maybe first week of November. But he was just like, so this guy's like the Police Academy guy, and I'm like, that would be a horrible villain. You know, where Batman was just like, drop it there, criminal. And he's like, and Batman's just like, what?
Robin fucking smack this punk ass bitch.
Smack him in his fucking mouth. He just bleeped at me. And I was trying to explain that, the character only works on the page, on the comic book page. Because you could see the sound effect blam written and have him say blam, and it don't seem silly. It seems chilling. But if you tried to do that in a movie, even fucking Chris Nolan couldn't pull that shit off in the Batman universe, in the Nolan-verse, if you just had
but even
Batman
when I read
Michael Winslow.
But when I read the comic book, I never imagine that he is imitating those sounds. I just think he's very
saying it
very monotone.
But imagine if you're in the real world and somebody fires a gun. This dude fires a gun at you, and as you lay there dying, he stands over you and goes blam. You'd be like, what does that mean?
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, why'd you say blam?
You've made this worse.
Is that like NASA? Is it some sort of abbreviation? What does it stand for? It's like scuba? Like self-contained underwater breathing apparatus? I'm dying. I need blood. Please don't shoot me until I figure this out. Is that where
wow, here we go.
I know, totally. Antarctica is what? Top of the world or bottom of the world?
I thought Antarctica is the bottom.
And what's the top?
Oh my god.
Don't you feel stupid in moments like this where you're like, I've been around for 38 fucking years and it's only now occurred to me to ask what's the top of the world?
Well, it's like, I know that it's the North Pole. The Antarctic and the Arctic. I mean, there's the Antarctic and the Arctic Sea, but it's not called the Arctic. Now you gotta look it up. Now I'm like,
you think so? All right, you fill it. I'll look it up. Go ahead, talk.
There's the Antarctic. I think the Antarctic is or just look at a globe.
Yeah, because I have one here.
Well, you got the internet. You type in globe,
I never know how to find it.
Map of world.
Antarctic is the Earth's southernmost continent. You were right. Overlying the South Pole. It is situated in the southern hemisphere, almost entirely south of the Antarctic Circle. But it doesn't tell you, its opposite, The Joker to its Batman is so forth.
I don't think it says Nemesis.
These two hate each
These
other.
two giant ice formations will fight each other.
The southern hemisphere is half the planet that's south of the equator.
I mean, there's the North Pole, which is it might be called the Arctic, and
I'm putting up North Pole.
the Arctic. There's the Arctic Sea. I mean, maybe Antarctic is like the opposite of the Arctic.
Man. While the South Pole lies on a continental landmass, the North Pole is located in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, amidst waters that were almost permanently covered with constantly shifting sea ice. This makes it impossible to construct a permanent station at the North Pole, unlike the South Pole. However, the Soviet Union and later Russia have constructed a number of manned drifting stations. Wow, that's fascinating. Fuck SModcast. Let's just read Wikipedia aloud for the next hour. Some of which, unlike the South Pole, some of which have passed over or very close to the pole. So you mean to tell me that all this time we've been telling kids, like, Santa lives at the North Pole, and all they would have to do is go to the internet and be like, nothing can live at the North Pole because there's
These are
constantly
shifting land masses.
Yeah, over a bed of sea ice.
Santa can't live on a shifting landmass.
We've
I
just
mean,
been
it's like a
lied to
magical
for
creature.
fucking ever. Who is?
I mean, like, you know, if you believe Santa Claus and some kid goes like, there's shifting land masses, I'd be like, of course he lives on a shifting landmass. He's fucking Santa Claus.
But at the same time, that's never been included in any of the songs or the TV specials. You've never heard like, and Santa on his shifting land masses putting together toys for all the girls and boys. There's nothing included in the lore.
That's true.
Like, there's nothing.
Right.
I've never seen a Rankin Bass special where, like, you know, they're the little puppets are like, Santa's sick this. Whoa, we're moving again, everybody, because as you all know, the
Everybody
North Pole
buckle up.
is a constantly shifting landmass. That would be more credible. If I was a kid and I saw that, I'd be like, wow, they whipped a little fucking. Must be true. Why would they include
Well,
that?
why
in the
didn't they
story?
make him the South Pole?
Because nothing good comes from the South. Everyone knows that.
You think
Santa,
it was
the
that?
racist and stuff, where Santa's just like, oh, I got toys for girls and boys, but, you know, they white.
I got two lists.
I don't know. I don't know why they went for the South Pole. Maybe
The North Pole. I mean, it's
North
like,
Pole.
I mean, it's northern.
Well, maybe
it's a
that's why.
northern-
Maybe it's because when they created Santa, they're like, look, conceivably people could. Well, had those dudes race to the poles at that point, you think? What were the dudes race to the poles? Cook and Perry? Is that the names? I gotta look it up. This is the problem with a little bit of education.
I think that I believe that the mythology, the
Wikipedia is like, there's nothing for Cook and Perry.
folklore surrounding Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas
Yeah.
would predate people going to the North Pole.
Yeah, but there was probably, I bet you the North Pole thing came way later. Like the whole
The
notion of a
mythology.
Father Christmas and shit. They never gave him a place to live.
But I would
Until
argue
some
that-
fucking kid was like, where's he live? And they're like, fuck.
Where?
Whoa,
But see, I would
where will
argue,
the kid never go? Hey, North Pole.
but I would argue that wouldn't you, if you were creating that mythology, wouldn't you be like, no one's ever going to go there? No one will ever get there.
At that
Say the
point, I
North
guess.
Pole.
Yeah.
Because then as soon as
you might as
fucking-
well say Santa lives on the moon.
As soon as Cook and Perry,
Was that not their
the
names?
least famous, as soon as those guys hit it,
No, I'm right, dude. Here it is. All right, I entered Race for the Poles, and I got an IMDb hit. And I saw a name.
Matthew Perry and
Frederick Albert Cook. Let's look up this motherfucker. I seem to remember Matthew Perry. I seem to remember. All right, here we go. Frederick Albert Cook was an American explorer and physician noted for his claim for having reached the North Pole in April 1908, a year before it's Peary, not Perry. I was right, but I entered Cook and Perry.
I mean, you should say first man at North Pole.
He was the first guy to get to the North Pole. There were these two dudes. I don't know the full story, but I imagine it goes something
I thought
like this.
that they raced-
two dudes in a bar bet, and they're like, I'm going to get the fucking North Pole. And Peary's like, fuck you are. And then it happened.
And then they went after it.
And let's see if they went
But
there just to
1908.
ruin it for kids.
There was Santa Claus before 1908.
There would have to be, right? Let's look up Santa Claus. If I'm going to look shit up, though, you got to...
I feel like, but I would argue that if you were, the North Pole was maybe thrown out there as like, no one will ever go there. Or like, who the fuck wants to go there? Like, forget it.
One legend associated with Santa says that he lives in the far north in a land of perpetual snow. The American version of Santa Claus lives at the North Pole,
Oh, it's
while
strictly
Father
American.
Christmas is said to reside in Lapland. Lapland? Santa lives at a fucking strip club? He's just like, I enjoy free buffet and fake grinding sex.